Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bob Kirschner. I am the Director of Leadership Cleveland at the Cleveland Leadership Center. Appreciate you joining this Facebook Live discussion with Kurt Karakul, who is the President and Executive Director of the Third Federal Foundation. We're here today because our Cleveland Bridge Builders program is having a session day here, and Kurt was kind enough to offer some of his time to have a conversation and dig in a little bit with the P16 Slavic Village P16 program. And just really appreciate you spending some time with us and talking about this important impact to the community in the neighborhood.
Thank you. Happy to do it.
Yeah. So for those of us, those joining that maybe don't know a whole lot about P16, what's the, how would you describe that in sort of an elevator speech moment?
Well, P16 is an investment that Third Federal, as an anchor in the Slavic Village community, elected to make to create a cradle-to-career program. And it brings in nonprofit partners and partners to remove the barriers that poverty creates that prevents education from going forward. There's a whole list of barriers that poverty can create. Poverty creates trauma in families, trauma in kids, and it really impacts their ability to learn. So we've devoted some funding to bring partners in that help to remove those barriers, stabilize families, stabilize housing, bring some safety programs, and really try to allow learning to go forward.
That's fantastic. That's really important work. So I've had the privilege of being in this room a couple of times, and people can see behind us just a little glimpse of what you call the wall.
Right.
Could you describe for anyone who hasn't seen this, sort of what they might capture through that?
Yeah. Well, the wall is we have a timeline of a child's life, starting at 0 and going to graduation from college. We have red cards on the wall that are systems of resources. And then we have dark cards on the wall that are partners and programs that educate children as they work their way through the system. And we believe that by putting this on the wall, it gives people a visual understanding of where they fit into the education that we provide for kids, who they can collaborate with, work with to strengthen their program, who they might hand a child off to when a child is transitioning out of their program. And it just gives everybody that visual understanding. We also, on the wall, have our mission and our vision of our P16 and a lot of the things that inspired the creation of our P16. We did a lot of research when the foundation was created in 2007 as to programs that could really impact kids. We came up with this Cradle to Career program. We decided to do it in a small geographic area because we thought we could make a difference in that area by making that investment. We spend about $1.5 million a year to give partnership and programs to help remove those barriers, and we started to see some pretty amazing successes.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and that's a tremendous amount of effort and investment on an annual basis that really makes an impact in the neighborhood. So let's talk about impact. The state report card was recently issued, and there's some successes to grab onto, opportunities ahead, but I think there's a moment to celebrate some great work done. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, Mountain School, which was one of our most challenging schools, and we have now 6 schools in our K through 8 schools in our P16. We have 2 high schools. But Mound was one of our challenging schools, and after 8 years of programming, we were able to earn a C on the state report card this year, which was really significant. Just a tremendous amount of work put in by our nonprofit partners and by the principal there and by the staff to really help to remove those barriers, stabilize families, and we're starting to see that kids can learn if you can remove those barriers.
That's great. Congratulations. What do you think are some of the next successful steps, either with Mound or some other elements of the P16 program?
We continue to work with our schools, and success is fragile. It can easily slip back. So you need to constantly continue to work with families, work with principals, work with teachers, make sure you can provide the resources, and just continue to improve. Seeing a C and Last year we had a school that got a C, but then they slipped back to a D. We met with the principal to see, well, it was maybe one teacher in a second grade that wasn't doing a very good job, that they needed to change what they did. One of the tutoring programs that we had wasn't as effective, so we've improved that. So it's a constant sort of looking at things, trying to improve where you're not doing so well, but constantly encouraging these programs to continue to make the impact they are making.
Mm-hmm. So Third Federal is an anchor organization here in Slavic Village, and at the time that the bank was looking at a new headquarters, it was very intentionally decided to remain here in Slavic Village, and so this has been home for a long time, and,
right.
and you've already used the word investing in the community. And I'm just curious, what lessons do you think that other neighborhoods or organizations might take from the good example that Third Federal and the foundation have set?
Well, I really think that that education can be changed neighborhood by neighborhood. I think that there are neighborhoods that could create a model similar to our P16. It might take a business who is willing to invest in our community. But if you think about it, we now have thousands of jobs in Northeast Ohio, which we can't fill because we don't have people with the talent to fill those jobs. It's in businesses' interest to invest in educating these kids so they can fill those jobs. I mean, if those jobs don't get filled, those businesses are going to eventually move, and that's going to impact our economy greatly. So it really is in the interest of business to be able to invest in education in our community. So I would encourage business people to think about ways that they could do that. We spend $1.5 million a year, but we have 6 K through 8 schools and 2 high schools. It's a large number of schools. You could deal with a community with 1 or 2 schools and do that with a lot less money, and make that big investment that's needed to try to remove those barriers to help education go forward.
So someone's watching this and they're inspired and struck with, wow, this is making a real difference, and I might want to get involved and help. Are there some examples you can think of opportunities that exist for someone to support this work or this type of work?
Well, we have a monthly partners meeting that generally takes place the first Thursday of every month, that's open to the public. We have about 75 to 100 people that come monthly to talk about the successes that we've had, to talk about the challenges. We're more than willing to talk to anybody who's interested in looking at ways we could help and assist them. I give a presentation once a month about the wall and about the way we've structured this program. I'm happy to talk to anybody who's interested. So they could contact me at Third Federal, and I'm happy to talk to anyone who might be interested in seeing the way we've structured our program, and talking about how it might need to be restructured for a neighborhood that might have some different needs.
Right. And then just, generally speaking, why is community engagement important to you? I've heard you talk about, your previous role and the opportunity here at the foundation that where you've spent some time, and I think it'll be helpful for people to hear your personal attachment to that.
Well, I think that when I was a young lawyer, I was a guardian ad litem at juvenile court. I'd see young people make a mistake and get referred to juvenile court, get exposed to some bad people, some gangs, and get in a system that would suck them in for the rest of their life. And Ohio is somehow willing to spend $42,000 a year to incarcerate someone. I would much rather see us spend 1/10 of that on an educational program to keep a kid out of the system, and to give them the skill level to be able to fill those jobs. It's just so crucial. We need to change some of our systems to be able to devote money to prevention and education as opposed to punishment. We have a punishment mentality in this country, spending billions of dollars incarcerating people, when if you took some of that money and gave them the skills they need, they could fill a lot of these jobs that are unfilled right now. So.
Are there any partners within P16 that that you would like to mention or sort of lift up
We have some great nonprofits that have done an amazing job for us. America Scores has an after-school soccer program. City Year has teams that go into our schools. Open Doors Academy, Progressive Arts Alliance, countless partners. Idea Stream's been a great partner of ours. We've had Metro Health has been a huge partner of ours. We actually put a health clinic in one of our schools. We have countless partners that have really been able to sort of be committed to our mission of helping kids and gotten out of the silo that they oftentimes work in to be able to collaborate. The Boys and Girls Club, University Settlement, so many of our partners have just done an amazing job of even adapting their program to make sure they deal with the issues that we uncover. It's been really cool.
That's great. Just a fantastic community effort. So if people want to learn more about this on their own, if they go to the Third Federal website, is there a place there? And then within Slavic Village Development is another link I mentioned?
You can get a hold of Natalie Friedel, who's our director of our P16. She works at Slavic Village Development, so you can call Slavic Village Development, or you can call Third Federal and ask to be linked to me, and I'm happy to talk to you.
Excellent.
Good.
Well, thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Great.
And if anyone watching is inspired by the work happening in Slavic Village and you have an idea of your own that might take hold in your own community, invite you to visit the Cleveland Leadership Center website. We have an exciting program in February coming up called Accelerate, where you can pitch your idea, get some seed money, and maybe start to make an impact in your community like the Third Federal Foundation is doing here in Slavic Village. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for a future Facebook Live event at the Leadership Center.